Yo, it's me, Tony. Come inside of me. It's Monday. Ask me anything Monday. How are you? How are your spirits? I am mediocre. Not the best, not the worst. Feeling slightly, I guess, insecure, down on myself, and a little depressed, but also like totally fine. Um, so that's where I'm at. I think self esteem is one of those things that you just have to keep kind of cultivating. It's like a garden that you can't just let be. Like a garden has to be tended to. I'm pretty sure. I mean, like a field is cool because it's just like, wow, let's be wild and free. I don't think your self-esteem is a field. I think your self-esteem is a garden, and you have to kind of keep revisiting it and be like, how you doing? How's everything? You need water? You need some fertilizer? You need some period blood in order to grow in a way that's going to benefit you? I don't know. I guess there's a lot of stem cells in period blood, and supposedly it's good for your garden. It's also a great face mask, I've heard. And I think I definitely present as someone who would put my period blood on my face, yet that is a false narrative. I could not do that. I'm not denying that it's probably really beneficial, and maybe it is really great for your skin. And whew, but I could not do that. But I support it. Also, not a pee drinker. Can't drink my own pee. The jury's out for me whether or not it's good for your health, but some people swear by it. And I've made a lot of pee drinking friends in my day, and I'm going to respect them. I honor their pee drinking. Um, there's just anything that comes out of me grosses me out. Come inside of me. Strange name for a podcast because everything that's inside of me, like truly terrifies me. I don't like what's inside of me. Maybe that's a metaphor. Maybe that's just real. Like I would never taste my own breast milk. I know. Okay. Oh my God. I know that I had some gagging happening on the last podcast, and I don't know why I'm about to take us into another gagging journey. But the idea of tasting my own breast milk makes me so upset. Makes me so upset. I think I would rather taste. I think I would rather taste another human's breast milk or pee than my own. Something about eating, consuming the self. It's very upsetting to me. I don't know what that is. Something for me to unpack. Okay, so today on Ask Me Anything, we're actually going to get some unsolicited advice from me to you around somatic healing, around body work, around our bodies, our pain, our emotions. Because listen, I offer one-on-one somatic journeys. I offer this. So I want to explain what it is I do. And if you don't want to do it with me, fine. I'm not hurt. I'm not angry. Okay? I'm fine. Do what you want. No, I think you're missing out. I think you're genuinely missing out. So the two ways you can access me are either through Patreon, where you would get access to me truly every month, which is a vibe, or you can just book sessions with me by going to my website, toninaj.com, TONINAGY.com. But let's talk about somatic sessions. So let's talk about it from an abstract sense first, which I think we're all a little bit more like, okay, that this idea that, we intellectualize our lives. We can do the cerebral work of like understanding a story that happened to us and being like, yes, I get how this thing affected me and now it's manifesting in my life in this way. I think that's what a lot of people are doing in talk therapy. That's what we're doing when we're analyzing ourselves to our friends, is we're looking at it from this mind perspective of story. But this is the problem with story. Number one, Joseph motherfucking Campbell, for one. Not that he's a bad guy. I honestly think he taught at my college. I think he taught at Sarah Lawrence. So I'm not shitting on Joseph Campbell, the human. I'm shitting on him being the canon of storytelling. Because basically the idea of the hero's journey is very rooted in patriarchy, very rooted in like achieving goal, and very rooted in like a specific arc, like going up and then down and then it's finished. I think that the hero's journey, as applied by Joseph Campbell, has now been infiltrated our media to the sense that we then take the hero's journey, we take the story that we've been brainwashed into seeing as a narrative arc, and we're like, yes, this is the story of our lives. And then we retrograde and fit the story that what happened to us into this Joseph Campbell hero's journey narrative model. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's not a model of life. It's a model of patriarchy, to be honest. I would say that a woman's story, if I were to do like, what is the heroine's journey? A woman woke up and survived one day. Very cyclical, right? And then the next day she woke up and survived another day. It doesn't have the same like arc, peak and valley that the hero's journey does. But I would argue that all of our lives are more the heroine's journey. And I think that when we try to retroactively fit our lives into this narrative structure, it's limiting. And it also makes us have this like false sense that like, yes, now it's over. Fantastic. I did that thing and it was hard, but it's over now and I'm moving on. Because we all know that's not the way trauma works. We all know that's not the way healing works. Healing is very cyclical. It's a spiral. I think we can agree that you kind of come back to these healing points with like a deeper sense of consciousness over time. So there is a spiraling effect because there is progress, there is gradation. You know, a circle would be like spinning wheels. That would be upsetting. That would be the definition of insanity, really. I think it's just like purely circular healing process. We want the spiral. We want things to be three-dimensional, right? A circle is very two-dimensional, or a sphere. You know, we could be healing in a sphere if you want to think of a sphere. But I like a spiral because it's got that like infinite, but a sphere is contained. It's up to you what your metaphor is. But it's interesting, like our relationship to time. I think I've talked about time before, but it's like, I think about like the static body, right? And like we think of ourselves as passing through time. Like, oh, my body is passing through time. But what if our bodies are static and time just passes through us? Now that's a stoner thought for you, eh? I don't even think I had that while stoned. I might have. But I don't know, I don't really smoke that much weed anymore, which is sad. But it's also for the best. But it's also like, at just that one moment, I was like, oh yeah, I used to be stoned and that was fun. But when you think of like yourself as like it's like almost like a fixed body, and then time is passing through you. It's kind of interesting. Also, that means that there are a lot of cultures, especially many cultures in Africa. Again, Africa is not one culture. It's like 10,000 million. I don't even know. There's so many different cultures within Africa, but and countries, obviously. It's a continent with many countries, many cultures, many religions, many different ways of thinking. But I know that a more common idea of time in the giant continent of Africa is that the past is the only thing that's real, because the past has happened. And so that all time actually exists in the past. And that the past is where like the golden age of existence is in the past, and it will always be in the past because the past is what creates time. Like the present moment, it's almost like, think of crochet, right? So, or knitting or something. You have the needles and you have the yarn, but first you have nothing, and then you like knit one row or crochet one row, and then that's made. And then you keep adding onto it. But the only thing that's real is the past, because you have the tangible product of the crochet or of the knitting that's real. But the future of the crochet is never real because it hasn't, you know what I'm saying? It's just still so theoretical. I mean, we talk about time a lot on this podcast recently, but why am I talking about this? Because I want to talk about your relationship to your body and the somatic aspect of it and the stories. So why is so much stored in our bodies? Like, why are we dealing with so much physical pain? Part of me is like, these stupid ass fucking monkey people that were in the trees and weren't standing erect probably didn't have the same amount of back problems and hip problems. I don't know if like animals are having the same sort of like physical ailments as we are. I think they're like ergonomically, they just like make more sense. Like, I don't think a snake is ever like, my vertebrae. I don't know, unless they're injured. I don't know. You know, I wish I was like an animal communicator to be like, does your back ever hurt? Maybe with like the dogs that have been bred. Like when we interfere with the species, maybe I think we do cause problems. I actually am now 100% sure I'm remembering like a breed of dog that has a hip problem, but that's not natural. We infiltrated nature. Does a wolf have hip problems? I don't fucking think so. I've never seen a tiger, and thought, looks like stiff hips. So something about humans cause body problems. And I'm gonna say that's emotional and like the strange architecture of the spine. I'm not sure we were ever supposed to stand to hold up these dumbass heads. Like, you look at the spine and all the curves in the spine, complicated. You have to have like the lumbar curve and the cervical curve, but if they're too much, you're gonna have some problems, the lordosis or like the hunchback. And but you need curves in your spine in order to be a human, but like not too much curve. So I'm gonna say that the reason why we have so much body problems is because of our emotions and our traumas and our dumb heads and like standing erect to hold our heads up. Why the fuck did we ever stand up? To hold things with our hands. That was it? That was the reason? I don't know. Evolution, not 100% sold on like all of their rationale, but I guess like the reason why we were standing is because we were like holding things in our hands, like our dicks. Just kidding. Tools and stuff. Whatever. We got out of the trees. We held things with our hands. Bad idea for the back. Where am I going with this? Oh, the somatic healing. So when we do somatic work, what we're doing is we're taking the knowledge that we've built in the mind of the stories that have shaped us, right? And we then decontextualize them, reimagine them. We look at how they're actually manifesting in the body, because the body is not quote unquote logical. The body isn't fitting a narrative format. The body is just like, hello, here I am. My butt hurts. My hips hurt, my back hurts, my neck hurts, And everyone kind of has that chronic thing that really bothers them. Like some people, I think the neck and shoulders is a classic one. I think the lower back is a classic one. Hips, classic. Knees, classic knees. So for me personally, very rarely have knee problems, very rarely have head and neck problems, shoulder problems. Like this is not where I'm working on. For me, it's like lower back, hips. Doesn't mean that I don't have things to investigate in these other body parts, but it's just not where it's loudest for me. So I think like what happens is that different problems and different things to work on are manifesting in different parts of our body. Digestion, organs, liver, your thyroid. I mean, we can go on and on about what these things mean. And I think there are some universal truths. Like there's this woman, Louise Hay, and she has a book. It's funny. She has a very like, I'm going to sound like such a cunt. But Louise Hay's face has obviously been, there's been some plastic surgery, and I'm always like, what's going on with you emotionally where you have had this plastic surgery and then you're so into the body and its messages. But this is me being a cunt. I'm sorry. There's nothing wrong with plastic surgery. There's nothing wrong with it, but I want to talk about it at some point, the interference of the body with the plastic surgery, because I think it is an interference and it's coming from a deep emotional place, right? Why we want to do it. And I think that emotional place needs to be addressed. So, okay, here I am. This has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that like I want to honor anyone that's having plastic surgery, and I want to simultaneously honor the impulse of why to do it and heal that part. Not to say you can't still do it, but that part that's like driving you must be looked at. We're never fully healed. You're healed when you're dead, okay? So let's drop the narrative that like, oh, you're gonna be healed and totally balanced one day and then you're gonna be like fucking fine. It's like, sorry, you're not. When you're fully balanced, you're dead. When you're fully healed, you're dead. So healing is a part of life. Balancing is a part of life. It's all part of the journey of existence. So the somatic stuff is like basically taking the universal. So there are universal things that we can learn, like collective issues around like shoulder pain, or like Louise Hay. Like, so she basically is trying to navigate the universal. So like, okay, if you're feeling lower back pain, it's often around support and it's stress about money or things like that. And like a lot of people can relate to these triggers of like why your body is hurting. Or I mean, her book is quite comprehensive, you know. I really like what she says about STDs is like being deeply rooted in shame, sexual shame, and like feeling like you deserve something. And what I like about this type of thinking is that, like, I believe personally that, you know, there is this narrative in Western medicine that's like, oh, you're fucked for life. Sorry. Oh, you have this thing? Well, you just have it for life now. Oh, you have herpes? Well, now you have herpes for life, and you're like diseased for life, and you're gonna be a fucking outbreak monkey for life, and fuck you, and fuck your sexuality, and fuck everything you are, and just like live with that, you dirty, dirty person. I mean, I hate that narrative for people. I actively reject it because there's plenty of people who have one herpes outbreak and then never again. Never fucking again. So I don't agree that it's this like thing that has to plague you for the rest of your life. If you get into the emotional autoimmune, why the body is attacking itself, why it's manifesting in this way and doesn't need to manifest again. Have you integrated and learned what the body was trying to communicate with this herpes, which is ultimately trying to protect you? When I think about herpes, I don't just, so here we go. Like here I am adding on to like my thinking, and what my download is I think herpes is trying to protect you from being hurt by shitty people. So it's like creating this like barrier, and you're like, I shouldn't be like fucking that person or kissing that person or sucking that dick. And when you deal with like what you need to protect, maybe the herpes will not come out again. You won't need the herpes. Same with like a genital wart. Anything that's like flaring up, I think is actually trying to protect you. I don't think it's trying to ruin your fucking life. You know, like what I don't like about Western medicine is like this overarching analysis that like, oh, this is actually trying to just ruin your life, so you're just like uncomfortable for the rest of your life and you just like live in pain and suffering, so like, sorry, here's some medicine. Like that does not resonate with me. Like I resonate more with like, oh, okay, like the herpes is here because your body's actually trying to help you out. The body helps you out in the most cunty of ways, right? It's like, thank you, herpes. Didn't fucking want that, but it is coming from a place of protection. Probably same with the genital warts. What else? I mean, like all sorts of things I think is around like protection, but I think that the sexual transmitted diseases are interesting. And I did talk about how it comes from men raping animals. That was the gagging of last week. I'm remembering now why I was gagging. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to think about it. Okay, we're not going to go back into Gag City. That is just not going to be good for my podcast. If I get reviews that are like, well, she does gag openly a lot and it makes me puke. So when I do somatic work with people, okay, this is the two ways that I do it. I do group sessions. I'm doing a group session in Boston. I'm doing a group session in Philly. Go to my link tree. It's in my fucking website. It's in my everywhere. I post it on the show notes of this podcast. Go to my link tree. You will see my Boston link. You will see the Philly link. But I do group sessions, and this is how a group session will work. I'm doing them with Sarah. I do them alone. These two are coming up with Sarah because I'm doing the Grape Culture show with Sarah. So Grape Culture is coming to Boston, my tragic comedy. Again, go to the link tree to find out more about Grape Culture. And then we're doing a workshop. Why are we doing this workshop? Because we're showing people a show around grape culture, and then we're giving people an opportunity to address how different traumas are manifesting in their bodies, because it's all connected. Like whether or not you've been sexually assaulted doesn't mean that trauma doesn't live in your body. It truly lives in every single human body. That's why our bodies feel pain. And I think the psyop is to be like, oh, you're aging. You're getting older. You're just getting older and your body's gonna hurt. And now your body's just gonna hurt forever. Absolutely fucking not. I think I've talked about the Chinese people that are in their 90s and they're doing flips and they're doing pull-ups and they're doing splits. Absolutely, I refuse the narrative that we just get older and so we're gonna just like hurt for the rest of our lives. Like this is just, it's weaponizing the body. It's making the body an enemy. Oh, you want to be happy? Well, your body's gonna like keep you from being happy. So fuck your body. You know, I don't like it. I reject. So when I do the somatic work in a group, what I am doing is I ask a person, you know, like, hey, what's going on with you? Like, what's going on with your body? And they tell me what's going on with their body. And then I ask them what they're going through emotionally. And then we talk about how these two things are connected. And what's interesting about that is that it's like, getting into the personal body mapping of this human. However, it's also a collective conversation. It's like we all have to work on our shoulders, whether our shoulders are in acute pain or not, whether our shoulders are actively hurting us or not. We all have things in our shoulders that we need to release. We are all shouldering the problems of others. We all have this tendency to feel the weight of the world on the shoulders. We may have a traffic jam between the head and the heart, which is like manifesting in the neck. I think when the head and the heart aren't communicating, the neck will be very tight. And that means that you have like plaque on the neck that needs to, be brushed away through movement. And this is the thing, movement is healing. It's like the Tin Man, right? The Tin Man, he gets lubricated with oil so he can move, so he doesn't feel so stiff. And it's through this movement that he can then do the little tippity tap dance that he does, which I hate the Tin Man's dance and I hate his song. I also hated the lion song. The lion, if I were king of the forest, so horrible. I mean, whoever wrote that was hated children. Like, why would you do that in The Wizard of Oz? Why would you write that horrible fucking song? And it was so long. I hate that. But anyway, the metaphor of the lubrication of the blood, which is the movement, right? When you get your blood moving, that's when you start to address. So movement is healing. I can't stress that enough. And I think a lot of times when we're hurt, we're like afraid to move what is hurt. Or we just stretch what's hurt, but that's more of a ripping. Stretching is good if you know how to stretch correctly, but moving is better. And especially you have to move before you stretch. So when we work collectively, we have to rely on the fact that we have collective messages, which is what happens when I do the group settings. But I've never experienced a group setting where we haven't all deeply benefited from just a couple people's issue, because again, all of our issues are each other's issues. When I do one-on-one sessions with people, this is what happens. Like, I'm just going to explain to you what I think is happening is that I think I've talked about this before, about like opening up a channel. And what is a channel? A channel is just like, it is an energetic, it's a metaphysical place where you are like opening to source information, higher self information, intuition, right? It's like you're kind of bypassing the brain, the ego, and you're getting knowledge from something that is it's not the ego. I don't know how to explain it beyond that. Like, it's not your thinking, it's you feel something. You feel information about another person. So when I'm working with someone one-on-one, I start the same way. Hey, what's an acute thing for you and in your body? Okay, cool. Your hips, wonderful. What's something you're working on emotionally? And then from that one place where we start working on the hips and whatever you're working on emotionally, all these downloads start coming because I do the work with you. I think that's the different thing about like me doing somatic work. I don't know about other somatic practitioners. I don't just sit there and fucking watch you. I move with you. And I think that's important because as I'm moving with you, whether it's in a collective or whether it's in a one-on-one situation, I then get more messages because we're more quantumly entangled. Like when I'm just watching someone move, I'm in a more analyzing space. And I'm like, oh yeah, I see how your spine is stuck here. I can give like corrections on how to like move with more quote unquote integrity or more alignment, right? So using your eyes is important when it comes to, working with people on like technique and stuff. But when I'm not watching and I'm just feeling, that's when I get the downloads about the somatic, if that makes sense. So then I'm like, wow, I'm feeling that like your mother's judgment of you is really living in your hips. Is your mother incredibly judgmental? I've never had someone be like, no. They're always like, yes, my mother is really judgmental. And I'm like, okay, great. So it's like, why your hip is hurting is because you're holding on to this like very judgmental voice of your mother that's in your brain. And how do we then pull the mother's voice out of your head, which is then what we will do. And then once we start pulling the mother's voice out of your head, we come up with another thing that has to happen, because this is how downloads work. It's actually, I can't plan a download. I have to feel a download. because I'm with you, and it happens in the group setting too, but it's more of like the collective download because I'm getting like all the information from everyone at all at the same time, plus the person that I'm like actively working with. But I think there's something also really groovy about the very specific body mapping when we could do an individual session, because then we start to uncover what is really in your pain body. Because beyond the collective, there is your story that is being stored. Oh my God, did you hear what I just said? That is the smartest thing I've said in a long time. Your story is stored in your body. Yes, I'm actually making a video about that specifically, right? Your story is stored in your body. That is good. That is good. That just came to me. Yes, because the channel was open. Right. Sometimes I compliment myself because it's not myself, it's actually the channel. And I feel like I'm just like complimenting the channel because that's like a dope channel, like that just didn't that feel so true in your body? Like it felt so true in my body when I said that. I'm like, oh, right on. That is when you're not saying something from your ego, you're saying something from like source energy because it like feels true. So when we do this kind of work, it is like you're getting to things you just can't access, I don't believe, by cognitively understanding something. It's like I can cognitively understand my parents and that like, oh yeah, my parents are deserving of compassion because my parents have gone through these things, and like I feel compassion because they experienced this level of trauma themselves and blah blah blah. Your brain can make that cognitive step, but do you really feel the compassion? Do you really feel yourself letting go of the anger of their betrayal? Do you really feel yourself letting go of the fact that you're so desperately disappointed that they didn't protect you from the things you felt like they should have protected you from? That is not something that you can talk yourself into. It's just not. And I think we gaslight ourselves when we get too much in the head and think we should. No, I have compassion for my parents. I do because I should, because I understand. I understand and I should have compassion, so I do. That's not feeling. And it's really hard to feel genuine compassion if you haven't felt the genuine anger and disappointment. And again, I will say this until I'm blue in the face. You must do it multiple times throughout the life. It's not just like you do it once. You're like, perfect, okay, done. Forgave my parents, it's over. No, sorry. I am sorry. No, it's not how it works. You have to have a practice of repeating this. And that is where somatics is really interesting. And again, it's something you can do alone as well. But like the reason why you work with people in the beginning is to learn from their spirit guides and to like entangle with their guides. I think there's a lot of like value to seeing healers and to seeing practitioners who are in this practice of working in this way, because then your spirit guides communicate and then you end up like getting the downloads that you need for yourself and then potentially for others. Who knows? I do not know your path, but most of my healing training happens through my own healing and going to healers and getting downloads of how they work and then developing a curriculum. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but developing a practice that is unique to me because I am the one practicing it. Like I don't know anyone who practices like me because it's me. I don't know, but like I know other somatic practitioners that have given value to me and would give value to you. So I'm not saying I'm the only person you should see. I'm saying you will get a very unique experience with me as you would with anyone who's doing somatic work, because it is about the entanglement of the wisdom of the person and the person that they're working with. Like it is interactive. I think like, what is the type of psychoanalysis? I don't know that much about psychoanalysis, except for the fact that I think and I'm pretty sure I'm correct, that there is kind of a formula that you are applying to everyone. And there is something, I mean, I'm not shitting on formulas. I'm scratching my head because I'm not sold on what I think, but I think formulas have value, but I also think that we have to get into the mud of the specificity of each person. There's a formula and then there's the specificity, and there's a dance between the two of being part of the collective and being part of your own very specific experience of life, which is why we have separate bodies, right? If we were only collective, we would just be one big blob. I think I've talked about this before. No, but we are separate for a reason. Even though rain is all water, there are separate raindrops. So why are we separate raindrops? Why aren't we just one blob? You know, think about rain falling into the ocean. Kind of an interesting metaphor, right? It's like the separate raindrops returning into the collective consciousness of the ocean. But, and also, doesn't rain just come from the precipitation of the groundwater? Like, isn't just like rain and snow like water coming back to itself? Like, is that not the cycle of life? I don't know. I'm not a geologist but I think I'm correct. I don't think rain comes from, or snow is not coming from outer fucking space. No, it's coming from our own atmosphere. So it's like the earth is like pulling water up to push it back down, to pull it back up and push it back down. And that's a pretty sick metaphor for life and consciousness. That's another fucking video. I hope I remember all these videos that I should now make. I'm going to repeat them to myself. The story is stored in the body, and this whole rain thing, rain snow thing. But you can picture what I'm saying, right? And this is life. The return to innocence. That was actually pretty fucking good. All right, I love you. I'm gonna go. Please see Grape Culture. I gotta call my friend Bridget Barkin because Bridget Barkin is gonna be performing with me at Joe's Pub October 5th. We're gonna be doing 2 original songs, and then probably Bridget will close it out with a song of her own. And that's at Joe's Pub October 5th, New York City. Come see me and Sarah Grape. I got Portland, y'all. I'm coming to Portland. I'm coming to Seattle. But first come to Boston. First come to Philly in September. Portland and Seattle are November. The weekend of the 14th. The weekend of the 21st. And also Wednesday the 19th in Portland. All those dates are going to be on the linky tree. But just don't fuck around. Come. Please support my goddamn Patreon. Goddess darn. Support that Patreon. Also in the linky tree. But just do it. Just support the Patreon. You're going to get a lot out of it. And also there's going to be a solstice shake. So now's a really good time to support the Patreon because there's going to be a solstice somatic online session and you'll get a vibe of what I could offer. That's actually a really good offering I just thought of. So I know it's already there, but I just like thought of why you should do it. It's only $33 a month and you can always like stop, but I think you should just do it. Okay. I love you. I love you very much.